On the last Twiglet Zone, I mentioned about past lives and how we've been here on the planet possibly hundreds of times before, living out different lives. And maybe not even just on this planet. Welcome to the Twiglet Zone. Past lives. Have we been here before on this planet? Before this existence? The answer is yes. The chances are we've been here hundreds of times, possibly more. But why would that be the case? How do we know this? Well, there have been plenty of documented cases which have been proven now over time, where people have been born to this world and somehow remembered a past life. And they've been able to prove it. And it's happened a few occasions now. So also, there's been well-documented cases. This book here was one of the early books on the journey, if you like, to discovery, which is Many Lives, Many Masters by Dr. Brian Weiss. Now, he was the ultimate skeptic. He was the one who didn't believe any of this past life nonsense and spirit world and all this kind of thing. Because he's a scientist, he's a doctor, and but he used to do regression therapy through hypnotism to help his patients who were suffering from various forms of mental illnesses or depression or whatever. And in doing so, he discovered somebody who kept going back to past lives. Now, he refused to believe it for the longest time, until the evidence became so overwhelming he had nowhere else to go. And then that started him in an alternative direction. And I kind of understand that vibe, because I feel that that was exactly where I was. I was Mr. Skeptic. And then when I had nowhere left to go, I had to realize that I'd got my version of reality totally wrong, and this stuff was real. And that set me on a path of discovery, which has been fascinating. Anyway, past lives. We've all been here before. And what happens is that we live out a life, and when we die, we go back over to the other side and we have a life review where we are judge and jury on ourselves. We decide the things that we did well. We get to understand the impact that we've had on the people around us, the good and the bad. And where you see areas where you know you need to improve, then you then plan to come back, because this is now karmic debt, right? You may have done wrong by somebody, and now you want to come back and you want to reverse the roles around so that you can be the victim this time of whatever you perpetrated last time. So if you were the perpetrator of violence on one other person, for instance, then you may choose to come back with that person again, but with the roles reversed, because you need to feel what it was like that you put that person through, which then clears your karmic debt and allows you to grow and to ascend beyond that. So in saying that, what this suggests is that there is a planning that takes place before you even come back down to earth, right? And it's true. So another book, which I took a lot out of, this one is not such an easy read. This one's called The Soul's Gift by Robert Schwartz. This is a tough read, but it's fascinating, because this talks about the life planning that we do before we come down. And it's all very scientifically done. There's no emotion. This is not a fictitious story. This is documented therapy sessions from people who are very gifted. They've been able to go back and identify who was in the planning room, who are your soul group that you're coming back with, why are you doing what you're doing. And some of the times we can be victims of things when we come back because we planned it for ourselves. So you have to be careful not to judge people who do you wrong, because it could just be that they're playing out their role in your life here because you were the ones who caused it. You were the one who caused the problem last time around. So be careful not to judge. It's a lot more complex than just being able to say, okay, this person's a good person, this person's a bad person. This is very different to the way we typically understand life to be. It's a fascinating subject. And here's the other thing. We will have been back on this planet lots and lots of times before. Moreover, we're likely to have been elsewhere, not on this planet, possibly other planetary systems. Possibly we've just been some other alternative form of energy, because you do not have to have a physical body. We think you have to have a physical body to exist. Well, that's rubbish. The reality is, it's the body that holds you back. If you didn't have this body, but you still had your consciousness and your awareness, then you're limitless. You know, the walls can't hold you down. You can fly, you can go places. You just have to think of it and you're there. And that's what happens after you die. You know, the best description of death that I heard was, it's like taking off a badly fitting shoe. Sense of relief to lose this physicality and go back to source, go back to the source from whence you came, which is this pure consciousness that is the real you. This physical John Drew that you see in front of you is kind of like the vessel through which I am traveling in this life. The real me is the consciousness that never dies. The immortal soul, the immortal spirit is there, and we all have that. That's who we all are. And once you start to delve into this stuff, you start to realize the stuff like fear, stress, all this stuff that we typically put ourselves through, pointless, unnecessary. Time to break away from it. Time to enjoy life. If we're here and we're immortal, why not have fun? Not at somebody else's expense. Be kind, be generous, be compassionate, be loving, but enjoy yourself. Get out and have fun. Laughter is the best remedy of all. It's a beautiful life. You know, there's so much to be understood, and I am at the tip of the iceberg of understanding. But I know so much more than I used to 4 years ago. My mind is expanded, and it's a beautiful place to be. So, past lives. Have you done it before? Yes, you have. Here's a thought for you. If we get on our Elevated Planet team a past life regression specialist, maybe you want to explore. And I say that because this for many people is a curiosity, right? You come back and say, okay, well, what did I do in a past life? Was I a doctor? Was I a warrior? Was I good? Was I bad? Whatever. Okay, so yeah, it is fascinating, but there are genuine reasons why people do this. Because what you'll find is, say for instance, there might be somebody who's struggled with a stabbing back pain throughout their entire life. The doctors have never been able to properly diagnose it. The operations have never changed anything. And then a past life regression takes that person to the battlefield. And the point where they died was where the sword got stuck in their back at that very precise position. And what happens then is that, having gone back over it and understood it, the pain will go forever. So it could be you have ancestral issues. If you have reoccurring problems, and the doctors have not been able to diagnose this in the way they normally would, could well be that this is an ancestral issue that could be resolved through hypnotherapy, or there are alternative methods as well. That's enough for this time. We shall expand further on the next Twiglet Zone. Fantastical stories accompanied by a savory snack.